what I'm going to do today is the administration training. So here's the topics we're going to cover today. So kind of an introduction to Kinship, uploading content to Kinship from Revit, managing content in the library, and particularly that will include lists, and we'll talk about what lists are, adding, managing collections, managing projects and models, viewing models and project information, and then a little bit about managing teams. But managing teams is really very simple in Kinship. So for those of you who have not seen Kinship at all before, so Kinship is a cloud-based solution for teams working in Revit. So the bulk of it is running on the cloud, but there is a plugin. There's an application that runs on your PC, and then there's a plugin, an add-in that runs inside Revit. It focuses on 3 key areas. So content management, project tracking, and analytics. And we'll look at a bit of each of these today. Most of it is actually on content management. And then it has, as I kind of alluded to, features for users and administrators. And today we will be talking about the features for administrators mostly. So during the training, I will talk about content families. And what I mean by that is component families, system families, annotations and details, groups, both model and detail, drafting views, and sheets of drafting views and other 2D elements. We also recently added patterns, fill patterns. So when I say families, I mean any of those. We support all these different types, and they can all be stored in the library. So where is content stored within Kinship? So every site has one and only one library, which is the library itself is created. It's empty, but it's created when the site is created. And the library has the concept of unapproved and approved. So approved content is content that you would, as an admin, you would be expecting users to use kind of generally throughout the organization. It's content that you've looked at, you said, okay, this meets our standards and is something that people can use. And that's what this kind of tick means. The library also has a space called unapproved. So unapproved content does not appear when users do a search. So if they're searching in Revit for content, unapproved does not appear. Only admins can put approved content into the library. Regular members can put content into unapproved library, but not approved. Okay. Lists are part of the library, and lists are a way of tagging content in the library so that you can filter on it when you're searching within Revit and say, okay, I want something from this list particularly. Lists are just tags. They do not create a copy of a family. So there remains one underlying family, but the same family can be on multiple lists. You can use lists for things like splitting it up by speciality or by vertical, or any other reason that you can think of for dividing families up. We also have collections. So collections are like alternative libraries, and the collections contain an actual copy of the family or a version of the family. So collections, so you can copy families from the library to a collection, and when you do that, it creates another copy. But you can put families directly into collections, and just the family can only exist in a collection, and that's fine. Collections, so there's 2 kinds of collections. There's team collections and user collections. Team collections are visible to everyone, and those would generally be the ones that you would be using. I'm not going to really talk about user collections very much today. When a model is added to Kinship, we pull all the families from that model and we store that in Kinship as well. And so those families are stored over here in the model. So when you do a sync with central, we don't pull the content into the library. It stays over here in the model. You can move it, you can copy it from the model to the library if you want to, but it is over here in the model. Users, when they search, can see what's in collections, and they can also see what's in projects. One of the features of collections is that they can be assigned to models or projects. And so what this means is that it raises the priority of these families. So if I'm working in this model, this project here at the top right, and I search for pump, if you can see that, that's pump, I will find this one here in this collection before I find this one here in the library, because it's assigned to my project. So it's a way of, if this was a school project, you could assign a collection with school desks, and school desks would appear first rather than any perhaps work desks that are in the library. You can also mark projects and collections as private. So what this I with a line through it means. So private projects and collections cannot be viewed by anyone who is not working on them. And so if you wanted to put some families into a project, either because the project was confidential, the collection, the families were confidential, or because they were work in progress and you didn't want people to find them, then you can make a collection private and it will become it won't turn up in search results.